When we talk about a revolution, you probably think of armies or big political changes. But we're going to talk about a different kind of revolution. One fraught with milk, microbes, and an incredible amount of passion. This is the amazing story of Britain's great cheese revival.
Okay, so take a look at this. At first glance, it might seem like just a traditional block of cheese, right? But it actually represents a huge, seismic shift in the food world. It's time to forget everything you thought you knew about British cheese, because something absolutely amazing has been happening.
And it is no exaggeration to say that cheese lovers are living in exciting times. Honestly, there has never been a better, more diverse, more exciting moment to explore the world of British and Irish cheese.
What we're witnessing right now is a full-blown artisanal boom. It's a story packed with incredible creativity and energy. But, to truly understand just how remarkable this all is, we need to appreciate the tradition that was so nearly lost forever. So let's go back in time. Our story really begins in what you could call the Golden Age, with the deep, ancient roots of this craft. This isn't some new fad. It's the rebirth of a legacy that's been around for centuries. We're talking about a story that stretches back almost 2,000 years. The Romans showed up and brought their dairy expertise with them. Centuries later, you had French monks settling and sharing their own cheese-making secrets, especially in places like the Yorkshire Dales. By 1086, Cheshire cheese was already so famous it was listed in the Domesday Book. And by the 17th century, the great regional cheeses of Britain were truly established.
And that brings us to a really crucial idea: territorial cheese. So what does that mean? Well, it's a cheese that's named for its home, its specific county or region. Think of Cheddar, Lancashire, or Wensleydale. Their identity is completely tied up with their place of origin. You just can't separate the two. Now, here's what's so interesting about this history. It's who was making the cheese. For hundreds of years, this was a farmhouse craft, a skill preserved and perfected by women, the farmer's wife, the dairymaid, with all that knowledge being passed down from mother to daughter. But this rich, incredible tradition was about to face its greatest threat. And so we enter this period of, a great decline. The forces of industrialization came along and threatened to wipe out farmhouse cheese for good.
It's kind of a shocking thought, isn't it? With hundreds and hundreds of years of history, how could it all just vanish? Well, the answer lies in the massive changes brought on by the Industrial Revolution.
And right here, you can see the two worlds just colliding. On one side, you've got the farmhouse tradition. It's a seasonal craft, it's done by hand, and it's all about preserving local milk. And on the other side, the factory. We're talking mass production, mechanization starting around 1870, and a huge focus on quantity, not tradition. And the real tipping point? The invention of the railways. All of a sudden, liquid milk could be shipped right into the big cities.
And that's the crucial point. Farmers didn't need to turn their extra milk into cheese to preserve it anymore. They could just sell the liquid milk. So farmhouse cheesemaking went into this just dramatic, heartbreaking decline that got even worse after the Second World War.
But thankfully, the story doesn't end there. Just as this amazing tradition was on the absolute brink of extinction, the artisan revival began.
So starting in the 1970s, a small but really determined group of pioneers basically decided this legacy was just too important to lose. They started fighting back, reviving this lost art, often completely from scratch, by rediscovering old recipes and techniques.
So, did they succeed? Well, just look at this number. Since 1994, the number of entries at the British Cheese Awards has tripled. That is an absolute explosion of growth and quality, and it proves just how powerful and successful this revival has been.
So what's driving all this modern creativity? Well, today's cheesemakers they're fearless. They're experimenting with goat's milk, sheep's milk, even buffalo's milk. They're creating these incredible soft and semi-soft cheeses that Britain wasn't traditionally known for. And critically, unlike in a place like France with its super strict rules, British and Irish cheesemakers really embrace this individualistic spirit. And that freedom allows them to innovate constantly, all while drawing inspiration from the land itself.
And that inspiration from the land brings us full circle, connecting this whole modern revival right back to that old idea of territorial cheese, the flavor of a specific place.
You've probably heard the French word for it, terroir. It's this fantastic idea that everything about a place, the soil, the climate, the specific grasses the animals eat, all of that gets expressed in the final flavor of the food. It's literally the taste of a landscape.
So for example, the Cheshire Plains are naturally a little bit salty, which gives the local milk, and of course the cheese made from it, a really distinctive savory tang.
Or if you go to Southwest Ireland, the air is consistently humid, which creates the absolute perfect environment for making incredible washed-rind cheeses. The environment isn't just a backdrop, it is an ingredient.
So, the most important thing to take away is this. When you taste one of today's great artisanal cheeses, you're not just tasting milk and salt. You are tasting history. You're tasting the climate, the landscape, and the deep agricultural heritage of that one specific place.
What an amazing story, right? A story of near extinction and a triumphant rebirth, all captured in a single piece of cheese. So the only question left really is, are you ready to go out and taste this revolution for yourself?